Okay, I think it's not a secret to anybody that Joe Biden's latest press conference in which he was grilled about his mental health was a total disaster. I mean, I have tried to be kind and not be too rough, but at the same time, I say, why shouldn't I say things the way they are? Because up to this point, most self-proclaimed Democrat voters assured me on Twitter over and over again that Joe Biden was perfectly fine. But I was making things up, just like everyone else. And all of a sudden, we got people like George Clooney claiming that, well, Joe should step aside. Yeah, the same George Clooney that organized a fundraiser for Joe Biden 3 weeks ago to raise $30 million for his campaign. I know this doesn't make sense from any point of view, and it's even funnier or sadder depending on what is your level of sense of humor when you take a look at these clips.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
Hands down, the clip that people are more concerned about is the fact that Joe Biden said that Trump is his vice president. And he not only could not correct himself, he doesn't correct himself because anybody can have a slip of the mind. This is something that is normal. I have slips of the mind on my live streams, and I correct myself because we have this self-assessing mechanism in our brains that listens to what we say. And if what we say doesn't make sense, or we may make a gaffe or something like that, then it allows you to correct whatever you said. But in this case, you don't see any sort of fixing or correcting or stuttering. Like, okay, I made a mess with this. I'm mentioning the wrong person in the wrong sentence in the wrong press conference. I don't know how to put this, but this is beyond critical because he's saying this kind of stuff and he's not registering them as they came out wrong. And that is really concerning. But at least he's reassuring in the sense that he's confident that he can beat Donald Trump again.
Fact is that the consideration is that I think I'm the most qualified person to run for president. I beat him once, and I will beat him again.
Now, someone asks about something that happened just a day earlier, in which he was going to announce Volodymyr Zelensky, and he said, literally, the president of Ukraine, Putin. And at least he corrected himself a couple seconds later. I don't know if someone was next to him, told him, hey, it is not Putin, it's Zelensky. So a reporter in this press conference asked him about that mistake. And this would have been the best moment possible to address that mistake and say, well, it was a slip of the mind. Anybody can have it. There's a funny explanation for that. He can even have one of his writers write a joke for that explanation. That is no big deal. But then he tries to explain it himself. And I don't know if he gets actually confused about the explaining of the confusion.
Have you seen a more successful conference? What do you think? And the Putin piece, I was talking about Putin, and I said, and now, at the very end, I said, here, I mean, Putin. I said, no, I'm sorry, Zelensky.
The other moment is when he tries to make a recollection of events, saying that, well, he had a very successful conference the day earlier, and all these world leaders were thanking him for bringing them together. And that would be really nice if it wasn't for the fact that he is slurring again, and you notice that he's having trouble organizing thoughts, making a recollection of things that should be easy to form in his mind. I mean, that's what I don't understand. In many occasions, he is much more fluent talking about his policies abroad, but when he's asked about circumstances closer to the day-to-day life, to what happened yesterday at the conference, for example, he seems lost.
Anybody suggests that we haven't had an incredibly successful conference? How many times did you hear in that conference, I know it sounds too self-serving, but other leaders, heads of state, in thanking me, saying the reason we're together is because of Biden, because Biden did the following. Look, folks, this is, well, anyway.
In terms of body language, it was pretty much the usual feel. There was this symmetric gestures and not much else. We saw a bit of bro furrowing, but that is classic Biden body language. That is his baseline. There's not much to say about it in that regard, except for that smile he makes when someone mentions about friends or colleagues or celebrities or any other Democrat who suggests that he should drop off the presidential race. And that's when he does this.
It's your friends, supporters, people who think you've done a great job over the past 4 years. Have you spent time thinking about what it would mean for your legacy, which you've worked decades to build, if you stay in the...
Now, what the general public, both Democrats and Republicans, are asking is if there is such a sudden pressure for Joe Biden to drop off the presidential race, then who is going to replace him in that race? And of course, the name of Kamala Harris always pops up. It's not Gavin Newsom anymore. It's not Michelle Obama anymore. We see actual polls being made with Kamala Harris against Donald Trump. And in all cases, he is asked about the fact that why did he pick Kamala Harris, in the sense of Kamala Harris said that she was ready to serve on day one, whatever happened. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm implying something that Joe Biden implied himself, so I'm not going to fill in the words that he implied, but Kamala said that she was ready to serve on day one, and this was Biden's response.
I wouldn't have picked her unless I thought she was qualified to be president. From the very beginning, I made no bones about that. She is qualified to be president. That's why I picked her.
But the most delicate question is when he is asked about his mental checkups. And he mentions the mental checkups that he has had every year since he has been in office. That's what Karine Jean-Pierre said a couple of days ago. So he says that he has had 3 mental checkups, and the last one was in February. But then a bit later, just 20 seconds later, he said that he had this daily assessment, and things begin to not make sense at all. And especially take a look at his facial expression.
We've had some discussions over the past few days with your press secretary about the question of health exams, and you said you take a cognitive test every day in this job. Are you open to taking another physical or test before the election? Governor Whitmer of Michigan, for instance, said it wouldn't hurt to take a test.
Well, look, 2 things. 1, I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist. In each case, as recently as February. And they say I'm in good shape, okay? Although I do have a little problem with my left foot because it's not as sensitive because I broke my foot and didn't wear the boot. But I'm good. I'm tested every single day about my neurological capacity to do decisions I make every day.
I would like to know, what does your mental acuity have to do with your left foot? I mean, everything in our body is connected. Our body is a huge, very complex system. Our nerves go everywhere. But we're talking about mental acuity, cognitive tests. We're not talking about extremities here. But in all cases, you're talking about your left foot that got hurt by something that you did. And thank God it's that you're not feeling your left foot. That would be a neurological issue. And that is not happening here. That is a good thing. But the bad thing is that he seems to not be able to follow a consistent line of thought. And we know how organizing your ideas, keeping your ideas in order, and having a clear state of mind, how important is that for making decisions? And making decisions for the country that leads the free world and has a ton of nukes. And that is something to think about. I mean, regardless if you're a Democrat or Republican, you cannot tell me that you don't find this suspicious. That all of a sudden, all the celebrities are asking for Joe Biden to just drop out of the presidential race. But I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. Don't forget to download my free 100 body language tips in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.